With the Pono classroom system, you can put your clients through any type of online classroom or online course to teach them anything that you'd like to teach them. It's simple to set up. Before I set it up in the admin, I'm just going to switch the screen for a second. And I spent just a few seconds, I spent 30 seconds before I started this video sketching out the way that I'd like this classroom to look. And I'd suggest you do something similar. So in this really simple demo, I have a nutrition business, I'm imagining, and I'm going to have a classroom with maybe 2 different modules. It's going to be a week-by-week classroom. So in week 1, I'm teaching the clients something. In week 2, something else. In week 3, something else. These classes will open up, so they will unlock week by week. The clients will have the content made available, new content made available week by week, and so on. In your case, obviously, you're going to do more than just sketch this out because you'll need all of the content. You will have written the text, maybe you have videos and photos and all the things that you want to add. I would really suggest, though, that you do take a moment just to do a really quick outline like this, how you'd like the classroom to go, what should be the progress of your clients through the classroom. It will make it a lot easier when you then come to adding it on the website. Okay, with that being said, let's switch back to the admin. Let's go into modules and classrooms. Because there's nothing in there now, I'm going to add in a new one. And let's say this demo classroom in my nutrition business is maybe one on the ketogenic diet. Just as an example, could be anything. I'd like to maybe teach my clients different dietary approaches. Let's pick this one as an example. Name, as always, is internal only. It's only for you. The classroom title is what your clients see in the classroom itself. The navigation title is what they'll see in the buttons in the classroom where they can navigate between the different classes. So in our example here, between the different weeks. Let's leave this the way it is. Classroom settings, I'm going to skip over most of this. You'll see what all of this means in a moment when I add in the subclasses or the other classes. Just a couple of things I'm going to look at here. There's one entry here that says first class begins on day. If you'd like your classroom always to begin on a specific day, so a client signs up on a Thursday, for example, maybe you'd still like the class itself to begin the following Monday. So you're always on a fixed weekly schedule. Then choose whatever the start day should be. Otherwise, leave it blank and it will start when the client signs up. And really the only other thing I'm going to look at here is the always grant full access to coaches and always grant full access to admins. If you would like the coaches in your business always to be able to see the entire classroom content and or the admins to see it, check these boxes. Otherwise, leave them blank. That's all we're doing in the settings for now. Let's go into the content and assets. Here's where you put in your actual classroom content. Let's just write something inspiring like this is a test. And I'm going to leave this blank. In the next video, we're going to go through this in a little bit more detail and make things look nice. Just as a demo, I think that's enough for now. We'll come back to the groups and the automated messages again in one of the next videos. So I'm going to save this. And with this, I've now added the main classroom. Let's go back to our little sketch. So I've added the main, if you like, parent classroom that all these belong to. Now I'd like to add the individual weeks. So I'd like week 1, week 2, week 3. Okay, let's create a new one. Let's call it ketogenic diet, and let's say week 1. Classroom title can stay like this. Navigation title, I don't want a huge long text on the button in the navigation. Let's keep it short. Let's simply say week 1. Again, you'll see what I mean in a moment. In the classroom settings, now it's important. I'd like to say that this week 1 belongs to my ketogenic diet classroom. How do I do that? Via the parent classroom. Simply hit the space key or start typing and you'll see all available parent classrooms. I'm saying, yep, this one belongs to that classroom. Again, I could change all sorts of things. I'm not going to change anything. I'm simply going to add a content and I'm going to say week 1 content. And I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to copy this because it's a little bit quicker if I simply copy and duplicate rather than adding everything new. Let's say week 2, week 2, week 2. Again, parent classroom, it belongs to my main ketogenic diet classroom. Now I need to enter something in this box. The classes begin X days after the start date. The first one that I added, week 1, I wanted it to begin immediately. Week 2, I don't want the content to be available immediately. I don't want it to be available until week 2. So I'm going to say this class begins 7 days after the start date. Client signs up today, class starts today, week 1 begins today, week 2 begins 7 days later. Week 3 will begin 14 days later. If you're doing months, it would begin 30 days later, 60 days later, and so on. So let's have week 2 beginning 7 days later. Everything else I'm going to leave the way that it is, and I'm going to say week 2 content. And let's create one more really quickly for week 3. Week 3. Here I'm going to begin week 3 14 days later. Here I'm going to do something different just to demo what this functionality is. There's the option to show it as locked while pending. Pending means the classroom is not yet opened. So client signs up today. This classroom is not yet opened because it won't open for 14 days. By default, it will still be visible in the classroom navigation. They'll see that there is a week 3 coming, just they won't be able to click on it. It will be locked. If you'd like to hide it completely, let's uncheck that box. Same thing after the classroom has expired. I could optionally close the classroom after a certain amount of time. Let's say week 2 opens 14 days later, and it's only open maybe for 1 week. You want to give your clients 1 week to look at the lessons, and then it closes. So I want it to close 7 days after it opens. Or I want it to be open for 30 days. Or I want it to be open for 1 day. They have 1 day to view the class, and so on. In that case, you could also have the option to keep it showing as locked after it had expired, or to hide it completely. I'm going to take that out now. It doesn't make a lot of sense for this, so let's leave that the way it is. Everything else I think is good. Just again, let's change this to week 3 content. Let's save it. Now, having saved it, before I can look at it on the front end of the website, I need to give myself access to this classroom. If you remember, in the top level parent classroom, I didn't say that admins and coaches always had full access. So normally I won't be able to see it. So let's go into the user dashboard in the admin. I'm going to open up my user account in this demo system. I'm going to go into the classrooms section. And I'm going to add in a classroom, and I'm simply going to say ketogenic diet. Register today, starting today. I'm going to save it, and that's all I need to do. Now if I go to the front end of the website, in this demo system, let's go into the account dashboard. And now I'll see my classroom in here. If I click on it and open it up, I have the classroom with the ketogenic diet. That's the parent classroom. This is the navigation title. Second hierarchy or second level of navigation. These classes belong to this parent class. I have week 1 and I have week 2. You can see week 1 is open and unlocked. I registered today, starting today, so I have access to the week 1 content. I can't click on week 2. I can see it, but I can see that it's locked, so I'm not able to access it. If you remember, week 2 begins 7 days later, and I said I want to be able to see it. Week 3, that begins 14 days later, if you remember, I unchecked the box to show it, so it's hidden. It's not visible at all. 7 days from now, week 2 will open automatically. 2 weeks from now, week 3 will open automatically and appear here in the classroom. So that's a very, very simple classroom setup. Now you might have multiple layers. You can keep adding parents. So within week 1, maybe you want a class for every single day. You'd add Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday content. Each of them would have week 1 as the parent. Within week 2, you'd have the individual days with week 2 as the parent, and so on. And you'd have much nicer content in here. You'd have your actual course and classroom content. In the next video, let's look really quickly at how we can add proper content in here. And then we'll look at a few other settings and how you can automatically give your clients classrooms when they sign up on your website.